another podcast brought to you by CST. I am your host, Knight Rider, along with my co-hosts, Airborne Bullskunk. And we have a special guest for you today, Chef Billy. I feel like I'm forgetting someone. Oh, wait, that's just Soshin. Never mind.
Right.
Anyways.
Oh, that's CST. Well, if we aren't, fuck you. If not, I don't know. Right.
Oh, God, here we go.
Oh boy, I told you I had something special lined up for you.
I was right. I still haven't got the proper intro. It's been 3 episodes.
Okay, ocean is ocean. That's all the intro you need.
Right. Next time when I get to actually host it myself, I'm giving myself a 10, 20 second long intro just about me. And
He's
then
already
we're just
writing
gonna
down
mute
all
you.
the titles.
Yeah.
All we ever do is talk about you. What more do you need?
Yeah, well, you just
This has gotten very much off track already.
This
Oh,
podcast
shit.
is already in sued chaos.
Oh, it's derailed. It's derailed, and we're only a minute in.
So I'm just gonna go
Are we
ahead and
actually
say
really
that
good?
D.VA ate the rails.
D.VA ate the rails.
Right, okay, next topic.
Anyways,
Still haven't
so welcome
introduced
back,
both company.
guys. I did. Anyways, welcome back, guys. It's me, your host, Knight Rider, Airborne, Bullskunk, Chef Billy as our special guest, and of course, the wonderful, magnificent Ocean.
You didn't even say magnificent, right?
He's from the Midwest. Give him a break.
Maleficent, since you're in the Disney.
Oh, it is Maleficent.
Dear Lord.
So our first topic of the day is our New Year's resolutions. So we asked you guys on our last podcast what your New Year's resolutions was. So we'd like to give ours. So for my New Year's resolution, I would probably like to not feed on Rhine. And
That's asking a lot.
that is asking
It really
a lot.
is.
But I would like to hit Masters by the end of
Oh,
the year.
God.
I
I thought the
think
first
that's
one was difficult.
achievable.
Just play this
I think that's achievable. That's
It's
dude, that's
Mercy.
all I play is Orisa. That's all I play is Orisa. But yeah, I think that's fairly achievable.
Well,
Shin,
this,
since you like to talk, what is your New Year's resolution?
Just me. I do have a couple of New Year's resolutions. One
For it.
is to
One.
not be toxic. I think
Okay.
I've already failed it, but we'll go with it. Two is that eat healthier. Haven't been eating very well recently, but festive period did not do me well.
Hey, you want to go get some McDonald's?
Tempting. And number three, most importantly, is to treat my lovely Pokemon on Pokemon Sword with love and respect.
You need to add me on the Switch, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah, what's friend code?
I'll send it to you after.
Oh, I thought we were doing it right now.
I don't think we should do that live on the podcast. I mean, I have my Switch here, so.
We have editors for a reason, Airborne.
Oh my gosh. They don't need to be editing your nonsense. They already
Wait.
have so much to do.
I was about to say, isn't that all they do is edit our nonsense?
Oh my gosh, it's so much. So much. It's the one thing that D.Va can't eat is our nonsense.
That's too much. It's too much.
Yeah, she got nerfed.
It's bigger than an accretion.
It's true.
Right.
Bullskunk, we'll go with you next. What's your New Year's resolution?
New Year's resolutions. I've actually been cutting out caffeine and alcohol from my diet.
Yeah,
Very
let's go,
nice.
Bullskunk.
Okay. I can't live without coffee, so I've tried.
Don't know how you're taking that when you're friends with me.
That's good. That's good. Is it? How long you been doing that for? Since the first of the year? Or
Yeah,
is
straight
this
since the
fairly new?
first.
Okay.
And it's not a hard and fast rule. It is a just drastically reducing from what I had in 2019. I initially went hard and fast to start off the year, but that
Never
proved
worked.
too challenging.
Never works.
That never
Going
works.
Going
Get
cold
some
turkey
caffeine classes.
really sucks.
Especially
really
on
sucks.
on too big things like that.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Well, that's pretty good. Airborne, what is your New Year's resolutions?
My New Year's resolution is to mostly cut out alcohol and prescription pills out of my life. That's a bit more serious
That's a
with
good
mine.
one.
That is good though.
because
That is.
I am on medication for depression, and I'm just trying to cut out a lot of the medications that I take. So.
And that's pretty noble. You know, you got to work on yourself first.
Mine seem a lot more
Absolutely.
laid back than everyone else's.
Yeah, it just gets slowly as Ocean, and then Ocean and the bull skunk got a little serious, and then it's just like, hey, I'm here to make everything morbid.
Right, Billy, are you continue the trend, or are you coming back?
Yeah, Billy. What's your New Year's resolutions?
I don't know. I mean, I'm kind
Wear
of on
condom.
the spot here. You know,
You didn't make any.
I've
man.
already lost 30 pounds in the past 3
Woo!
weeks.
Hey,
Go,
hell
Billy.
yeah!
Way to go! Nice.
I've kind of done the bull skunk
That's
thing
what's up, bro.
where I've cut out alcohol pretty much all the way out of my existence, because it's like a nursing bottle for me. I can drink whiskey like you guys drink milk or coffee. It's like I'm the stereotypical chef. You know, I go to work, I come home, I drink whiskey, I go to sleep.
Chef's work?
Yeah. I mean,
That's
have you
pretty much
ever
how every
worked
chef
with
I've ever
different
known has
kitchens?
worked.
Woo!
The Billy.
I think Billy's the new chef we know.
No. Well, no. I thought when you said the bull skunk method, I just thought you meant eat, sleep, and stream. And that's how
Hey,
and never leave your Xbox. It's only the stream.
I mean,
Hey,
true.
okay.
I mean, I stream a
I would like
lot.
the sponge bath that he gets. I think he gets sponge bath so he doesn't have to leave the computer.
Oh my lord.
It's like Carmen. Hey, ma, what happened? Ma? Hey, what happened?
Yeah.
I am not
Yeah,
Cartman
yeah.
from Make Love Not Warcraft, okay? That is.
Oh my god, like by far my favorite episode. Ma, I gotta poo.
I'm actually
Oh,
young to know what you guys are talking about.
No, just
So
go look it up
there
on
is
YouTube.
There's an episode of South Park where it's called Make Love Not
Oh, the
Warcraft.
balls is so. Well, okay, I'm looking.
You don't
South
know
Park
what? Oh, door. This is something we
Oh,
have to. Oh, dear lord. This is going to be an entire topic on its own if we actually go into it.
So tune in for episode 4, where we talk
Yeah,
exclusively
right.
about South Park.
1987
just-
comedy.
Just go
Hey,
look up on
Ocean.
YouTube, Make Love Not Warcraft, and it's all about like Warcraft.
Oh my god, I
and-
thought you guys were saying make love on World of Warcraft. I was fucking confused.
Oh my lord.
I'm sure there's plenty of that too, but no, this is not what we're talking about.
Yeah, no,
That
Make
really
Love
is
Not
dating.
Warcraft. It's a South Park episode. It is probably one of the best.
Yeah, it's
one of
just
the best.
it's purely dedicated
Yeah.
to them playing Warcraft or World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Except for
And I mean-
Imagination Land. Oof.
Following
Oh, yeah.
following what Ocean said, e-girls.
E-grills.
E-grills?
I'm
Actually, our next topic goes on to that. It's we're opening a new section to CST. It's called
I'm
Ocean's
actually
E-Girl
going
Hub.
to slap
No.
you.
It's only Ocean in there. There's nobody else.
There's no one. It's just Ocean.
Because Ocean's sitting there holding his hands out with.
It's just Ocean talking to
It's
himself.
like, any
Hello?
takers? Oh, why yes, Ocean, there is. Oh, that's me.
Are you single? Why, yes, I am. Oh, that's just me.
Is he going to be a searcher and a searchy? That's the real question. Is he both e-girl and looker?
Yes, he is
Yeah,
both.
Hey, Ocean, I
Is
have a
this the
question
point where
for
we
you.
just what?
I have a question for you.
What's the question going?
Do you want a Charizard?
I've got 2 Charizards, Matt.
Anyway, I think D.VA just ate the Pokeball.
Hey, I had to get this on topic somehow, so I had
Team
to
was about to eat all of us. We don't move on to the next topic yet, so let's have our 5-second gap. on that.
Alrighty. So moving on to our next topic. Our next topic is actually a new partnership with Yega. Yega is holding a no rolls tournament. I really like this idea. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. I think each tournament should have their own little shtick or gimmick. I think that it'd be, it definitely breaks it up from the norm of, hey, we're following Overwatch League rules. Let's only do that. No, I think that each tournament definitely should have their own little, you know, gimmick. So
It's certainly
moving into
fun to
that,
have. Yeah.
it makes interesting. You have to come up with new strategies. You have to, devise, so many different things. Everything can get changed up. Where we had the uh, tournament, ban and protect tournament from D9, and we had the goats tournament that we did for a brief stint, and now we have the no roll lock tournament. And I believe that they are still looking for teams. So today's January 19th, and the tournament starts on February 16th. So there's still plenty of time for everybody to sign up. I believe the minimum SR you have to be is about 3,600. So if any teams are interested in doing that, absolutely sign up. You can message Yega, and we will put his Discord in here. But his Discord is at Yega, YEGGAH, hashtag 4842. I would have said pound symbol, but millennials don't know what that is.
Truth.
Like
Pound
I said,
the hashtag.
yeah, pound the hashtag. So if anybody is looking to get into that, we can also possibly put a link to his tournament server in the description down below. So we'll try and do that for you guys. So it should be a fun, really fun tournament. We are going to be casting and producing that tournament. And yeah, like I said, it should be really fun. I think he's trying to get anywhere from 8 to 10 teams. I think that was the goal. So
That's a good goal. I mean,
got-
it sounds like a fun tournament. Coming in with the, we've been dealing with 2-2-2 for what, about 6 months now. So
yes.
Yes.
So
Has
going
it been that
back,
long?
it has.
Wow. Good
Season
grief,
4, season 4 of OWL, when we got introduced to 2-2-2.
Season 4 of Overwatch League hasn't happened, man.
All right,
Yeah, that
stage 4. Stage 4.
Okay.
Forgive me.
I was gonna say we just finished up season 2. This man's living in 30, and we're all living in 2020.
I see the future,
I
my
guess
friends.
I have 2020 vision.
And the Houston Outlaws still have not won a title. Oh wait.
Oh.
I still haven't made the playoffs.
Not gonna happen.
I don't want.
Not gonna happen. But I mean,
Anyways,
Night
moving
Rider.
on. Moving
Yeah,
on.
is
So
it-
yeah, we are very
Mhm.
happy to be partnered with Yega. So once again, shout out to him and his tournament. So please sign up. They are definitely looking for more teams to participate, and it should be a good time. Moving on to our next topic, we
This is
have
the
some
time.
huge news. Specifically, one of the main reasons we brought Billy in here is he, Bullskunk, and Ocean all got VOD reviews from legitimate casters, people who have made it to the big stage, made it, in their field. Bullskunk and Ocean actually got a VOD review by the one, the only Hexagrams.
That was insane.
When this happened, oh my goodness! Shout out to Airborne first of all. He's the one who was able to hook them up, and I've not many people know this, but the main reason for CST was for me to get things like this to happen. I want to help, not only grow this business, but I want people to be able to go out and get help that they want. This is, they're getting, lessons and help from people who have been where we are now, and I want to help people grow. And Billy was able to get a VOD review by BHP. So Billy, we'll get into yours first, since I believe that the hexagrams, because it was Ocean and Bullskunk, might take a little bit longer. So Billy, take it away. How was your experience with that? What advice did he give you? And is there anything that you're definitely going to be implementing into your casting?
Well, I mean, first of all, big shout outs to Big Hungry Phil, aka BHP. He is on the contender circuit in the Path to Pro. He's actually stepped away from Path to Pro to concentrate on the contenders from China, Europe, Asia, Korea. He's doing
Also Arena
GC
Clash.
booth on Wave. Yeah, so I mean he's up there. He's on his way. I think he will be maybe one of the next Overwatch League casters. If I read into what he was telling me and the little subtle hints he was giving me, we may be seeing him on the Overwatch League stage soon.
I would love to see it.
I took my shot, as we have all said to each other here. Bullskunk actually told me to pick myself up by the pants and just take my shot and do it. And so I did, and I did it on Twitter. And yeah, it actually happened. And I had my VOD review for about an hour and 20 minutes yesterday. And
just a straight one-on-one. There's
just straight one-on-one. I mean, he dissected something from the CCO, the Estrantia versus Tryhart's quarterfinal match. And he dissected myself and Bullskunk with the utmost respect of what we do. He was actually very impressed with us. I actually tweeted him afterwards and thanked him for his time. And he let us know that he could not believe how polished we were as a fledgling organization doing this. And I know that Bullskunk and I have been doing this, and Ocean have been doing this for quite a long time. You too, Ryder. And it was just a really big affirmation for me that I'm doing the right thing. It's so freaking awesome though to get that. And biggest things that I came away with was every caster, color versus play-by-play has their own space inside of a cast.
Yeah.
And you need to respect each other's space, and you need to have the right tempo and transitions for taking space or giving space. Kind of like being a Reinhardt player, Chris. Wink, wink, meow, meow. You have to take space, and you got to give space as needed. And it was the biggest thing for me to hear that we were doing well, and like we were doing things like the pros are doing. He actually told us that if we continue in our trajectory right now, Ocean or Bullskunk and I, he said there's no reason why we couldn't be on the broadcast.gg stage, within the next year. And that was huge. And I know that some of you guys are a lot better than me at this. I know that I can be cocky at times, but I absolutely respect every one of you here at CST, and I'm part of it too. I just am behind the scenes. I'm the HR bitch, and I'm proud of it. And
I think this isn't censored. Me and Billy are like rampant.
Yeah, I mean, you guys say worse than me.
Y'all had some major. What would you guys put on your Wheaties today? Was I don't know. I don't know if that was sugar or what on the Wheaties. Yeah, I don't think they were frosted.
It was salt.
Something. It was salt.
I'm not repeating what I was going to say. That's staying in my brain.
Flour.
Yes, flour.
Don't
good,
make
though.
me say the word flour. I can't say it.
The biggest thing was that taking space and knowing your space as a caster, and then putting context behind what you're saying. Don't just announce the kill feed and announce the team fight that's going on. Give a reason why they did what they did, and also make it as personal as you can. If you know a person from the other team, it's not showing bias. It's showing that you know the person and you know their play style, and it's okay to go ahead and say, this person played on Team Canada with me. I said it about Blackest Beast for the Tryharts, and it was huge. He said it was very genuine. He also talked about it being organic and letting it flow naturally. Sometimes play-by-plays they can get a little bit wordy, and they don't want to relinquish the mic. And it happens. It happens everywhere. It happens on the Overwatch League stage. It happens in contenders. It happens with us. And he said, just let it flow and don't be afraid to interject yourself there and save your play-by-play person if they're flagging for words. If they're running out of energy, just jump in there and get in there and help. And the biggest thing he said the biggest pet peeve for everybody, and everybody has to learn to lose this phrase: never say on the side of. So that's a huge barrage on the side of blah, blah, blah. Don't say on the side of. Learn some other way to say it. That was the biggest thing. And for the rest of our VOD, every time I heard myself or Bull Skunk say on the side of, I physically cringed. And he's like, "Yep, I did it to you. I'm proud of it. You will never do it again." So, yeah, those are the biggest things I took away from him. Big thanks to him because he was he
Big
put me on
hungry
my
thanks to him.
huh?
Big hungry thanks to him. You get the joke, because big hungry.
Big hungry things. Yes.
Yeah,
Big
yeah, you got it.
hungry-
Yeah.
But
Big
no, that
hungry
is
things.
so cool. Big props on taking that leap of faith and reaching out. That is just so damn cool. What an experience.
I was scared. I was so freaking nervous. Oh my god.
No, I mean, it sounds like you had a really good time. I mean,
I did.
that was awesome that he took the time to do that with you. I think that any time that we get an opportunity like this, it's absolutely just awesome. So thank you to Big Hungry Phil. Appreciate that, man. So shout out to you. And next up, we have Bull Skunk and O.
I'm learning.
You guys met with it was hexagrams there. So how did that go? I know because obviously hexagrams is he's on the Overwatch League stage. He's there. He has made it to like probably as big as you can get it in our line of work. Not that it really is work, but you know what I mean. So what was your guys' biggest takes away from that?
Oshi, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I'll start us off. A lot of mine was slowing down tempo wise and making sure that I could keep the tempo consistent. I kind of let the occasion, because the voter reviewed LA versus Kinetics game. I let the occasion of the finals get to me a lot, and took that sort of extra excitement, too far. So that was definitely like one issue that I had a lot. A lot of my time I was like an 8 or 9, maybe even a 10 at times for color commentary, which really you should be at a 6 to an 8 on color commentary on enthusiasm and excitement level. So that was something I needed to learn, slow down and temper that a little bit better.
Yeah, and that kind of mirrored to both of us as well, and just the entire broadcast, and just kind of slowing things down a little bit, and not necessarily during the heat of the moment, but just an overall tempo across the cast of just giving ourselves time to get our thoughts out there and to coordinate and to really put forward the best way to explain what is going on and the most pertinent information of the match, of the map. I thought that pacing was a huge part of it.
We also we learned that we had to broaden our analysis a bit. So we started our analysis very, very thin, very, very strategical analysis, without even explaining why this pick works on a map. So that sort of thing we need to improve on, making sure we start broad and then get thinner with our strategical analysis. So that's definitely one thing we're gonna.
Yeah, it was. He commented that we had a lot of great information. You were presenting a lot of good stuff, but that we need to start with the generals and then get into the specifics as the match goes on. And I thought this was a really cool point. Just that, at the very beginning, you want to keep your information as broad as possible. He talks about a percentage split between casting to your audience and casting to the general public. So, a lot of our viewers, a lot of our fans are people who participate in these tournaments. They're very knowledgeable of the players, of the instances in the tournament, be it, the protect ban system or whatever the intricacies might be. And I felt like we were trying to cast to that and cast to our audience. And he was saying we need to dial that back down to about a 70-30 split. That we still need to take time to explain the tournament name, be sure and just hammer home tournament names, as well as explain what is going on and the relevance thereof. In this example, explaining how the protect ban system has an effect. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything too long-winded. But he goes on to say that the people who already know aren't going to be offended or bothered by the fact that you're giving them their information that they already know. That it makes the people that are inside the community feel more apart because they're like, oh yeah, I already knew that. And so you're not going to insult anybody by giving generalized information, and it will help those who are watching it for the first time, coming in from the outside, and to try to really expand our viewer base and expand the console scene as a whole. So in that vein, keeping our descriptions and things general at first, and not being afraid to cast towards the general public who may not be familiar with console Overwatch. And he says that changes match to match. When in Overwatch League they would have, a Sunday afternoon match that's going to be broadcast on Disney, he says he'll dial it down to a 50-50 split of casting to an Overwatch audience and then casting for people who have no idea what's going on. And so it was kind of interesting to break it down into that terms and trying to analyze, okay, this match, we do need to go ahead and commit more to just generalized explanation. He also goes on to talk about, where are my notes? Oh, use of pronouns was a big one. And I think this is just one all casters across any game, across any platform, almost never ever use pronouns. And that's, I mean, as soon as he said it, it was something that rang true. It's something I've been trying to fix on my own, but the more consciously you can interject team names, player names, character names, that is all super important, and you're better off repeating the name of the team a couple times rather than using them or they and it not being clear who you're referring to. So all casters just get rid of pronouns. That was a big
That's
one.
actually something that I preach a lot, and I think Ocean knows that is whenever I was, looking for streamers or anything like that to cast things, I'd always make sure, hey, you guys, make sure that you guys are using, team names, because a lot of teams will go back to watch your VODs to try and better themselves. And when you're using their names, they like your stream even more. They'll
Yeah,
go back and
they feel
watch
more
it more
personalized.
because, yeah, it's so much more personable, and I try to instill that all the time. And tip of advice I can give some people, not that I'm a pro or anything, but if you know you're casting a match, find out the team names beforehand, find out the player names beforehand, read them over to yourself out loud. If you think that you're messing up one of the names, whether it's team or a player's name,
Message the captain.
message a captain, message that player specifically, message somebody who is related to the team that can help you. Captain, coach, manager, player, anybody. And it helps so much. Before going into a game, I would always invite the captains um, into the party that I was in, and I would go through and say, okay, I would read off everybody's names, and if I said it wrong and I didn't realize I was saying it wrong, they would correct me. Or if I didn't know someone's name, I would ask. And it's never embarrassing. It's something that needs to be done. I think that is very good advice that Hexagrams gave you.
Well, another thing he was talking about was doing shorthand on some of these abilities. I thought this was a very interesting point we went over as well. Where I found myself, this happened on Temple of Anubis Point B, where I found myself
Yeah,
kind of just tripping over all of the four
Baptiste
and
cooldowns.
yes, all of these cooldowns with so many syllables in them. And it was a funny side note. Hex mentioned that he even went to Jeff Kaplan personally and asked him to kind of dial down the names of these cooldowns, that they're throwing way too complicated stuff at their casters to be spitting out. But in that vein, once you establish, we'll use amplification matrix as an example. Once you establish amplification matrix, you can then start shorthanding it and bring it down to amp matrix, and even window or some sort of nickname is okay if it has been established that that is what you're talking about previously in that map. So I thought that was a very interesting point, a good way to help ourselves to get through some of those difficult pronunciations in the heat of the moment. So it is okay to shorthand for all you casters out there, for all you play-by-plays out there. Coming from the pros, that is good.
Although the good thing, like, he seemed very, very, very for transitioning. I think that was definitely one of our pluses from that vote that we reviewed.
Yeah, no, apparently our transitions were good. We had some good moments. He really liked the end of Lijiang Tower there on Night Market. He said there was a 2 minutes there that was just spot on. And
Yeah,
that's what we should be doing every time. But it was there were definitely some mistakes. I mean, we definitely have room to grow. I mean, that was the awesome thing about it. I'm excited to have 3 pages of notes going into my next casts that we can work on, that I'm gonna be focused on. And as Billy kind of touched on earlier, I mean, I was in the BHP was touching on my mic hogging. Getting rid of some bad habits coming out of solo casting. And we did the math. I've only been casting with a co for about 6 weeks. So
Really?
D9, really.
Yeah, we
That's
did the
short.
math last night.
D9 started December 2nd. It was really the first time I had a co-caster. So, still getting rid of some bad habits personally, coming from 69 months of solo casting, and being a mic hog is one of them. And part of that is just trusting your caster.
I mean, yeah, I
that's
feel like
definitely.
it's easier for
Go ahead.
me to definitely cast with geo. I've done solo casting and geocasting, but I've mainly done geocasting since I started. I started in December 2018. That's been a while. So December 2018, almost so a long time now. So like over an entire year of casting, and it's all been in geo. Of course, most of you who are probably watching is known. I've casted with basic for a long time, and now I'm moving into working with bull skunk. So I think I should dial on this quickly. So our main problem with basic is that we have very, very simple transitions, just in fight, outside of fight. We were never able to transition into fights well, and that kind of cost us a little bit. Our pacing was a little bit better, but when I'm casting a bull skunk, our transitions are more solid, and it's just generally a lot easier to transition. And also, the main weakness would be definitely use of the on the side of phrase. We use that a little too much, but I think the on the side of phrase, I thought, and when I'm personally talking, I think that's fine to use that once or twice. I think that's like a phrase that you can use instead of on kinetics, those sort of things. So I feel like it's just another way to say things. And if you've used some phrases too much and you need a little bit of a scapegoat, so I feel that there's definitely some advantages. You need to be able to find that perfect partner so that when you're casting, you feel comfortable with your commentator.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that.
I think that's I'm actually the reverse. I've only ever duo casted, and I don't know if I ever could solo cast. I mean, I probably could. I just like casting with a partner because it's more fun and it's someone to talk to. It's someone to like bounce ideas off of. You get a synergy and everything like that. I first casted with Two Odd, and then after Two Odd, me and Grunge Girl, aka Rin, she and I casted everything together. She and I were I think, a great casting duo. I do like to talk a lot. She does not like to talk a lot. So it worked out. I even casted with Basic and Ocean for a few games.
One game.
And I had one game, yeah. I haven't really casted since, but I'm hoping to get back into that as well.
You got traumatized by basic. It was like, nah.
Oh God, yeah. I think that was like the last. I think that actually was the last one I ever did.
I mean, I've been trying to cast more as well, and I feel like I get caught up doing a lot of color and maybe talking a little bit too much.
Right, okay, I've done it, boys. Airborne and Knight Rider, New Geo. I'm done.
Ooh, yes, saucy. Let's get it.
What you're talking about I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Ryder. I was just going to say that what you're talking about as far as adding too much color, there's time and a place. I mean, this kind of segues back into some closing thoughts from the Hex VOD review, in that specifically on assault from point A to point B, that time should pretty much be exclusively used to set up point B. Don't use a whole lot of time on assault specifically recapping what happened on point A. That is more important to set the stakes of what's about to happen on point B. It's more important to set up that next fight. This was Temple of Anubis, the example that we were using. But you have a good space in there, and you really want to set that up because it could be such a big, important engagement. And with that, he goes on to talk about keep bringing up the stakes and made a point of saying, why is this fight different from any other fight that we've seen this map, this match? And
can I give an example as well?
Go ahead, yes, please.
The most iconic fight in Overwatch history, in my opinion, Apex Season 2, semifinals, LW Blue versus Runaway. Monty and Doe on the cast. Monty sets it up perfectly, talking about Kaiser as his earth shatter. Bumper's gone down earlier. And then Eye of the Kaiser. LW Blue gets swept aside by the side of Runaway. Kaiser's earth shatter. I don't know. This is the most iconic fight of Overwatch history. The most iconic moment in Overwatch history, in my opinion. Eye of the Kaiser. If you haven't seen the clip, go watch it, right? It's ridiculous. Apex Season 2 semifinals between Runaway and LW Blue. You'll recognize a lot of the names. That is like the definition of setting up the stakes, setting up the fight, and that's what we kind of have to try and work towards.
I would like to actually comment. One of the most iconic things for me in Overwatch League was the Gladiator strategy on Kings Row.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the Great Bamboozle, man. The Great Bamboozle.
The merry-go-round.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think that right there, that's definitely got to be in the top 5 at least for memorable moments.
Oh,
I
of
think
course.
I think another top 5 memorable moment would probably have to be Shanghai getting their first win.
Oh yes.
Yep.
And then just absolutely just crushing everything.
I mean, if
Valiant
we're gonna
versus
go with top 5 moments, I mean, I can't help but throw in the first esports home game ever. The Dallas Fuel Homestead was insane.
All right, Mr. VIP Pass.
Oh, press pass. Thank you very much.
Oh, sorry.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah. So speaking of Overwatch and all this casting stuff, we actually have a new event and a new patch that has just come out.
Bro, I thought you were about to talk about the Jaeger tournament like we've already.
Oh no.
1.44. It is here. The biggest change, I think, being that the D.Va buff, her cooldown, her
D.Va
boosters.
got a buff.
Yep, going from 5 to
pretty
3.
much nothing.
So one of the most notable things about D.Va's buff is she can actually reach the top of Lijiang Tower.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. But like,
I know.
we talk about
I just
D.Va
like that.
as a pick with her utility, and I think we talk about all the off tanks in utility right now.
Sure.
Sigma needs fixed. God, like, could you hear
I
me?
don't
Could you see the tears coming from my eyes right now? His utility is just ridiculous. There are tears coming from my eyes, right? The D.Va just got buffed. I'm meant to be happy, right?
Yes.
No.
No,
have
you
to still
cannot
be
be
in
happy.
pain.
Yes. The pain. Take the pain.
Well,
I don't know. We were. It's funny because
Uh,
Bull and I, we were casting a goats match last night, and we watched D.Va track down a speed boosting Lucio.
Yeah.
It happened. We
yeah,
saw it
pretty
happen.
nuts.
It was nuts.
That is nuts. I mean, normally D.Vas. So like one of the main things when playing D.Va is never boost in to like engage. You want to use your boost like as an escape route, or if you know you're
You can do
solo
whatever the
killing
dollars
some.
you roll with it now.
Oh
Whatever
my lord.
playstyle fits you, my man. Whatever playstyle fits you.
Well, I mean, if you're into feeding, that is, Ocean.
Knight Rider, you can't talk about feeding.
It's true.
Hey, he doesn't feed anymore. That's his New Year's resolution.
Yeah, exactly. I took the.
It's a resolution that he's going to try to keep.
It's no longer an all-you-can-eat buffet. All right.
He's already failed.
It's no longer an all-you-can-eat buffet. It's a straight-up wedding buffet.
Oh, Lord,
He's got it there.
Oh God! It's open.
It's
It's open.
crazy
It's
about
open
what I'm
bar.
talking.
It's
So-
open bar.
But back to D.Va eating everything. I mean, if you have a full cooldown on Defense Matrix,
That's the buff that needs to happen.
What
but
about
you
just
still
no
have what? It's a
cooldown?
second and a half.
D.Va
Is it 1.5 seconds for a full bar of Defense Matrix?
Two
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, it's 2 seconds for it to recharge, but for it to actually like to change between matrices, so you like when you drop it, it's
Yeah.
half. But it's
So,
2
you
seconds
know
for
what?
the entire bar to recharge.
They still need to make it 30 meters.
You know
But
what
it's-
I would like is I would like whenever you're boosting that it would help charge it faster.
That would be nice. That would be a nice, fun change that wouldn't really like make her OP.
I don't know. I think that would get OP quickly, especially with boosters on a 3-second cooldown.
That's why you would make boosters on a 4-second cooldown and
Make it like 1.1
yeah.
times faster or something like that.
But
Yeah.
here's so as
At the
is.
time.
When you have boosters on a 3-second cooldown, defense matrix lasts for a second and a half. You literally have 1.5 seconds of vulnerability between not having DM and not being able to fly out and escape. They have a 1.5 seconds to burn down 600 health.
No time of vulnerability. What's your point?
That it really does empower her a lot more, and I think we could. It's gonna have to change her playstyle. That D.Va is you're just gonna have to adjust a bit, but I think it really is a very strong change, and I think it could have a big impact. It just hasn't been fully utilized.
Like stronger, right? But like off tank is gonna be strong with how Sigma as he is. He does 160 damage per second. He has a rock that stuns things. He has a shield, and he has a matrix. Like,
I understand.
That's ridiculous. And shield, he has regenerative health.
Sigma is the best of both worlds.
Well,
and also, right?
I think he's also
when you're also playing against Sigma, you have to look at his disgusting ass feet.
I think it takes a lot of skill to actualize what Sigma can bring to the table. And yeah, he probably will be a mainstay off tank in Owl for a while. But as far as the rest of us plebs, I think we're actually getting to a decent place on where all the off tanks sit. I think Sigma.
Think Demon's already in a good spot now.
Yeah, I think Sigma is hard enough to use that it does offset some of his high capabilities.
Oh, definitely.
Now, it's not going to change the Owl meta, I don't think. I mean, obviously they've had since Thursday to experiment with new things, but I think is the main nerf really going to be that big of a deal? No. Is the Hanzo nerf really going to impact anything?
Take out multi-freeze.
Right. I mean, that's what everybody's screaming.
Heard some Hanzo players say that they prefer this Hanzo over the last one.
Really?
I heard. I think it was Oregon Summit. I don't know if this was a joke on Twitter, but apparently they like this, like this slower.
I keep saying, Hanzo, you either need to nerf his movement or his damage. His cooldown on his lunge legitimately gets him away from dive tanks 90% of the time. Yeah, he may not near a D.Va, but all he has to do is storm arrow the D.Va when her defense matrix is down. He D-Max the D.Va. 3 headshots. Boom, right there. D.Va's D-Max. And Winston's cooldown for
Leap is like
6 seconds. Yeah, 6 seconds, where Hanzo's is 5.
Truth. Like, I feel like with D.Va getting a 3-second boosters, I feel like having something going down to 6, or not, go down from 6 to 5 would also be pretty appropriate.
That would be really cool.
Do it, Blizzard. I know you're watching. I can see you, Jeff, right? Can we input like my eyes on the screen here? Jeff, I can see you. Do it.
No.
Right now.
I can smell you.
I can smell you.
I can smell me. It's not pretty right now.
So the other notable parts to this patch.
Baptiste.
Baptiste is probably the biggest.
It still has an immortality field. Like,
yeah, well, I mean, the immortality field went from 8 seconds all the way down to 5, and the cooldown was increased from 20 to 25. And his amp matrix, the ultimate cost, was also increased by 20%. So, I know, but still, I think, you know what really irks me is when you're shooting a dragons and then he puts down that, it doesn't take any damage.
It should take damage from a dragon. It should take damage from ultimate.
That would
it really should.
See, now that's just the state of dragons. It does take damage from ultimates. That's just dragons. Dragons don't affect equipment.
Yeah, that is just dragon.
Dragons don't kill turrets.
At least you could blade a thing, you know. I think my problem is right.
I think you should be able to just I understand that dragons don't destroy shields or anything like that.
I wish you could eat lamp. That's where,
I agree with that. I've agreed with that from the get-go. You should be able to eat lamp.
It's such a powerful cooldown. It's like having Somber hack, but you can't stop her from hacking you, or Somber invis, but you can't take her out of invis. You know, It will be so it's so stupid. You can eat anti-grenades, you can eat sleep darts. But this really key cooldown, right? There's like no counterplay, just puts it down.
Yeah, just put it down, lol. You have to focus it. Have fun.
Yeah.
And like
exactly.
me personally, I play in tier 4 in
Well.
for Guardians. Yeah, I play in tier 4 as well. And after the Baptiste changes, I didn't really feel too much. And like obviously, like last second, like, oh, I don't have this cooldown anymore, like I usually would. But like the way that I played Baptiste, it really didn't affect the way that I played Baptiste. Immortality Field is still as powerful as ever.
Well, it's still great for an emergency get out of jail free card. They were trying to eliminate.
They've made changes.
Well, they're trying to eliminate the oppressive, throw it behind the corner, Immortality Field your Bastion who can't die for 8 seconds, and there's nothing we can do about it. But I mean, they added 8 seconds of downtime there, so between the 3 seconds off of how long it's lasting, and then adding another 5 to the cooldown, I mean, there's an added 8 seconds of downtime to that cooldown now, which is massive. I mean, it's huge.
I don't know which streamer brought it up, but it's essentially what Blizzard did. Immortality Field should not go on cooldown until it is destroyed.
I like Ocean's input. Shit.
No, right, literally. Okay, my opinion on Immortality Field. You can give a character no abilities. You can't shoot. You can't heal. But if that thing is Immortality Field, I reckon it still matter.
Yeah. No, I mean, you make a valid point, though, Airborne, as far as it not starting cooldown, but then you're adding another 5 seconds to that. So they've already added 8 seconds to its downtime.
No. That's essentially what they did. They made Immortality Field last 5 seconds. And then they buffed Immortality Field's cooldown by 5 seconds. So they essentially made it the old cooldown. Nerfed it, sorry. They essentially made it the old cooldown. So basically, it's exactly what that streamer said. I don't said it. I have to go back and watch it. But
basically, as soon as you place it down, your cooldown starts, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but what he was trying to say is it should have that 20-second cooldown starting when it's destroyed or after the 8 seconds that it was up. Now it's only 5 seconds, and it's 25-second cooldown, so now it's just back to the 20-second cooldown. Technically, if you are a Baptiste player, that's how you just got to look at it. Oh, the cooldown doesn't start until it goes away. So it's essentially how I looked at it as a Baptiste player. Just like, oh.
But that would be a softer nerf than what currently got introduced.
But that's essentially what happened. Yeah, it's a 5-second lamp now instead of an 8-second lamp. But looking at it, just like it's still immortality. It's still just pure immortality.
I mean, it is a nice nerf. It's nice that they're trying to change this very, very oppressive ability, and I feel like this might make him a more fun character to play against. But his damage output is really ridiculous. It is still an immortality field. Like,
he does more damage than Soldier right now.
I still think this character is a bit too much.
Not counting Helix rockets.
Not counting.
Yeah, not counting Helix rockets. But Baptiste has a little bit more of a, hey, I'm gonna heal you with mine. But
yeah, Baptiste can also heal, double your damage, and keep you alive through ultimates. I mean.
Yeah, and then like
I feel like
the last 2 characters that Blizzard have added just do so much fucking damage.
Sigma does 160 damage per second. That's isn't that still more than Zarya fully charged?
Yeah.
I think Zarya.
No, wait, Zarya does
160 or 180.
Zarya does like 190 a second fully charged.
Yeah.
Okay, that takes skill.
But again, that's not consistent. That's not her consistent damage. You're not going to consistently have a Zarya at 100 charge, regardless of what level you're at.
Yeah, but I mean, that's like, you're never going to have a Sigma who hits every single one of his damage pebbles either. Like, he's not exactly Soldier.
I'm well aware. All it takes is like, hey, you just got body shotted by a Hanzo, you're 100 HP, Sigma lands 1 lucky shot on you, you're dead.
That's not true.
Pretty much.
That's not true.
So
one lucky shot would be 60 points of damage.
Yeah.
So moving on from Baptiste, other notable things in the patch, slowing effect now reduces enemy movement from 20 to 70% and down from 30 to 90%. and the slowing effect duration reduced from 1.5 to 1 second.
It doesn't make a difference.
Me and Ocean agree. It's not
You
going to
can,
make
you
a
can
difference.
still
It doesn't.
freeze 6 members at a time.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's the passing. Like if you're spinning around and trying to catch the wrecking ball or the Genji or somebody that's fast moving, he might have a slight better opportunity to get out. But it
Who's
is
gonna play
Yeah.
Wrecking Ball, Genji, and Deme anyway?
exactly.
It makes
Like,
competitive play more fun. Well done. I've got a Genji on trick. He's not gonna die to the Mei. Every
Oh,
fight, he's gonna
man.
die every other
Yeah.
fight. That's brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah, right.
Competitive play more fun.
I mean,
but if we're in
again,
screaming situations here,
it wouldn't surprise
there's
me.
no difference.
It wouldn't surprise me to see Blizzard nerf them again, but they're going to take this slow roll approach. They're going to slowly dial things back.
But it's
You know,
legitimately going to take until it becomes. It's going to be the D.Va issue. Everyone complaining about D.Va always being played in every meta. And
That's
everyone was
because
just
D.Va
like,
was such a nice utility character, but now we've got
Yeah,
Sigma
but-
having more utility.
yeah. And then, well, you have more utility out of Sigma and more damage out of Sigma.
Yeah.
It's not even just the utility, it's the damage and everything. And like I look at it and I'm just like, yeah, I could see like little nerfs to Sigma, like maybe his damage or nerf something. Like there's plenty of things you can fix about Sigma.
Yeah.
There is one obvious thing to change about Mei.
Get rid of multi-freeze. You tried to fix goats with it. It didn't work. It does not need to be in this video game. like,
like it's just one of those things where it's just like it's an obvious fix. Like I know you guys don't want to revert changes, and not saying you guys don't want to admit when you're wrong, but you guys want to be like, oh, we may not want to go back to the old Mei who can only freeze one person and basically her
I'd
only
rather
utility.
play against an annoying Genji than a bloody Mei.
Yeah, but it's just like like that's one of the biggest things that people complain about. CC. What happens when you can CC a 6-man roster with one character?
Yeah, it is pretty dumb.
And I'm well aware that most coordinated competitive plays, you're not going to be freezing an entire 6-man team. I'm well aware of that.
Yeah.
I'm exaggerating very hard right now, but at the same time, it's just like you can freeze. Like let's say they're running a Rein Zarya. Let's go like tier 3. They're running a Rein Zarya. Reinhardt gets his shield broken. Zarya uses her bubble. You can suddenly freeze their entire tank line because Mei's sitting there holding right trigger.
And one character that is actually really hurt by this patch is Orisa, especially with Mei still being, OP as she is. Orisa's Fortify, her damage reduction reduced, went from 50% to 40%.
I mean, I think the
So
question on
that's
everybody's mind
definitely
is that enough?
No. I think it's close. It's a nice change, but Halt is still better than Graviton Surge, and Fortify is still better than Primal Rage.
I don't know that I agree with either of those statements.
The halt nerf that I think should come out is, I don't know if it should be able to halt more than one person, or like it shouldn't be able to halt a 6-man roster. This is something I was talking about earlier, not on the podcast, but just with other people. I feel like a limitation on how many people you can halt.
I think 3 or 2.
I mean,
Like,
see
something
that
I know that would
seems.
be. Here's the thing, I know that would be a bitch to code.
It's not just that. That is a direct. That is a direct hard nerf to try to counter like that specific instance. Like I don't think there's much counterplay that like that's just turning down the dial, and I think that's a. I don't think that's a good way to approach trying to balance this hero.
Or just Blaze just nerf. Like no, when I say it's better than Graviton Surge,
It's on a cooldown.
It's on a cooldown. It's
Right.
literally an ultimate on a cooldown. You can combo it with everything. You can combo it with Storm Arrow, combo it with Dragon Strike.
Do you know how hard that
Signal.
is to do? I mean, just because you look at Owl and they can do a meteor strike into a halt and it looks gorgeous and just so easy to pull off. Like, you know how many people follow up on that shit in my halts in my games? Like, it never freaking happens. It never happens.
But here's the thing. I'm trying to look at it in a competitive sense.
Yeah, I'm trying to look.
Yeah,
at
that's okay,
sense.
but you can't balance the game for 200 people.
Yeah, I know. But it's just like also halt is just one of those abilities where I'm just like I feel like
It's not fun.
If used completely correctly, even in competitive mode, like comp, it could be super oppressive and it could just be insane. It's just one of those things where I'm just like, I think a tweak to it would be fine. I don't think a hard nerf, like as you said, Bullscout, a hard nerf probably isn't the answer there.
I mean, you'll quickly make Orisa obsolete.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exactly
like,
what happened to D.Va. I mean, one too big of a change because they thought how oppressive DM was. DM was the best cooldown in the game. You had to have a D.Va. I mean, we've talked about this.
Yeah.
That's what fed
Then
into.
you have Sigma having it too.
But you cut that down by 2/3, and it made the character completely obsolete.
Well, what they also did, right, with D.Va is they also made it so one thing with D.Va is you could sit on the high ground, matrix things on the high ground. If we talk about Dorado Point B, you're able to matrix the low ground from the high ground, which is fair enough. I think that's a good thing. You can't do that anymore. You can't first point Blizzard World from the little thing with the little pigeon going.
Yeah, the
around.
box on point A.
You can't do the high ground to the low ground from there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is the stupidest change this game has ever went through.
I mean, I understand why they did it
one-
because DM was very oppressive, and I think
It is oppressive, but it also, nerf its time, and I still think, and like it was a joke. It was a joke on the first podcast, but it's just like I feel like people were just getting salty that they couldn't time the defense matrix and they were getting their abilities eaten, and I'm just like, really?
Okay, so the thing with D.Va Matrix Predator with the whole, there's counterplay, consistent counterplay to D.Va Matrix, and it takes skill. When you're playing Orisa, there's no consistent. There's counterplay to a result. Is there consistent counterplay? No.
Yeah, D.Va.
Like, you're not gonna run D.Va when you can't matrix.
Hey, I was just saying, if you want to eat the halt, you can. But no, I think that's where your double shield meta came in all seriousness. I mean, your counterplay was to have enough shielding to protect against the follow-up.
Yeah, and then it's just another thing about defense matrixes. I mean, you look at it and everyone's just like, oh, you need to make it shorter, you need to make it this. What were the callouts always in comp or even competitive play? Hey, I have visor. DMAX the D.Va or use her defense matrix so I can visor.
Yeah, it's counterplay. There's so much more counterplay to D.Va's Matrix than...
Yeah, but that's after years of tweaking, and what they tweaked the most was the timing, was how you use it. I mean, how many different changes have we seen to the timing of D.Va's defense matrix?
The biggest nerf, I think something to make D.Va more viable was just give her back her 15 meters. Like, I joke about it.
No.
Yes, please.
No, I think 12.5 is sufficient. I think that they could revert it, but meet them halfway in the middle. I don't think it needs to cover...
I don't mind halfway in the middle.
The entire battlefield.
I'd have to research that, but 12.5, you should be able to matrix the low ground from the high.
50 meters.
No, right. No, because even Hanamura Point B is another example. From the high ground to the low ground, you can make a prediction play. You should be able to matrix that.
Okay.
And just the one last tidbit I wanted to add on to the halt. I think if they were going to try to nerf halt, I think it would need to be something like lower the range by 0.5 meter or something. I think something minimal like that, because it works on a radius, would... I think that'd have a bigger impact than people realize. If you just lowered it by 0.5 meter on its reach, it wouldn't be able to grab as many teammates. You would have to be a little bit more precise with it. But I think it needs to maintain the range of being able to pull people above an Orisa shield. I think that's an important aspect of that cooldown. So
that's what I was saying with D.Va Matrix. So you should still be able to have kind of
agreed. That's part of that same the manipulating the geometry and being able to work with the maps. But I think if you were going to nerf the halt in a constructive way that's not just going to completely dumpster Orisa, it would have to be with the range, and it couldn't be too drastic.
Yeah, and I understand, you don't want to make Orisa obsolete. She's still very useful. She's a very useful character. And I think, Halt is a fine ability. Even if it's on a higher cooldown, I think it should be as strong as it is.
I think you got to be careful nerfing main tanks in general. We just don't have enough of them, and they're too important.
Yeah.
But we do still have another character to talk about here in our patch notes. We haven't even touched on the Doom changes yet.
So the only thing I will say this. No, my starting DPS for my tier 3 team that I coach, he has a good 150 hours on Doomfist. and he came to me after the nerf and said, competitively, Doomfist is useless.
I don't think he's useless.
I don't think he's useless either.
I feel like he is still good for those weird drills. Like, you can use Doomfist to drill something if you do it controlled. If you have a controlled setup where you can just put a Doomfist to drill something, I feel like you can use it. It's a lot more difficult to drill something, and I don't really know why this uppercut change came in. Maybe to make things harder to drill with Doomfist. Like,
I don't know.
It's a weird one.
It was.
We'll have
I
to
think
see
it was
what
too
happens.
easy to walk in and get an insta kill, and
Okay, yeah.
Doomfist has as much disruption ability as he does assassination ability. So I think it shifts him more towards requiring a little bit more teamwork and more of a disrupting the back line, get in and interrupt the support so they can't keep their focus on healing the tanks and healing their team, as opposed to just going in and immediately deleting anybody who doesn't have an escape cooldown. And
yeah, okay.
And they had to revert, of course, on the PTR patch. They made it a full half a second delay between your uppercut and when you could start firing. When the nerf went live, it only went to a
0.25.
yeah, it was originally 0.2. It went to 0.35. So they kind of split the
Yeah.
difference on their nerf there from the original live to the first PTR change. So I think they realized that their change was a bit too harsh and that they could very easily kill that hero. I mean, it seems like Doomfist is either an all or nothing hero. Either he is meta or he is bottom of the tier. Like, there's not much in between for that character.
I'll agree with that.
I still agree that he's a very niche hero, regardless of how you put it. I've always kind of felt like, in Double Shield or things like that, Doomfist was a pick, but it's just like you can get away with not picking Doomfist.
Absolutely. So to move into our final segment, due to popular demand from Ocean, we would like to actually do celebrity crushes. Ocean, since you are so excited about this, why don't you go first?
All right, so we got to break it down. We got to break it down from 4 different people here, right? So we start off with Zendaya. You might know her Spider-Man films. She's a Disney girl, just saying. Pretty obvious. Magnificent, dynamic. Next, Carly Rae Jepsen, Sun Call Me Maybe. That's all I really need to know. Then we have a fresher Emma Lahana. So we'll go back to Emma Lahana before she became vegan. Most notably, she was in Power Rangers Dino Thunder, but currently she is a Cloak and Dagger as a character. And then we also go to Rose McIver, who was also known for doing Disney Rock when she was young. So yeah, there's 3.
So I honestly thought this was only going to be 1, but Ocean took this way too seriously.
There's 3 Disney Rock, right? So, and then Carly Rae Jepsen. So there's 4 people, and I'm gonna pick.
Jesus Christ. So we know what Ocean does in his room.
Oh my God! He just watches Disney Channel.
Actually, I haven't been given Disney Plus yet. So
Ocean is a Disney princess.
Right. So instead of having a question for you guys, actually, we will give you a question. Your question is this: who is your celebrity crush? And 2, your second task needs to give me Disney Plus.
I mean, I have Disney Plus if you want the password.
Do you want to really watch what I watch to Disney? Do you want to be able to track that?
Let's see if you can out Disney my fiance, because yeah.
Challenge
Good luck with that
accepted.
She literally watched the entire High School Musical movie series and the TV series last night.
That's a bit much. I've never seen it.
That's rookie numbers, man.
My celebrity crush, Margot Robbie.
Who the balls?
Harleen Quinzel?
She played Harley Quinn in the Suicide
Squad. I know why you
movie.
like her. I know why you like her. Wolf of Wall Street.
No. I love her from the Tarzan movie.
Oh,
She played Jane in that.
Opinion.
So the new Tarzan movie, the live-action one, Margot Robbie played Jane. She's been in Wolf of Wall Street. She's been in the Suicide Squad, and she's also going to be in Birds of Prey. So
The
that is
reason
my.
the reason I know her really well is because I watch a lot of hockey and I see her like every New York Rangers game.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Who's next? Who's next?
Bull skunk.
What?
Can't say yourself.
Oh yeah, you can't say.
Whoa. Whoa.
Can't
That's
say
assuming that he's a,
hexagrams either.
that's
not-
assuming
a
he's a
work colleague.
celebrity.
Yeah.
You
Oh.
can't say hexagrams either because he's not work.
No, no,
Oh,
no, no.
that gets dicey.
I wasn't. That gets dicey. That definitely gets dicey. Honestly, as far as the owl scene, I'd have to go with Mika Burton.
Oh,
Like
fair.
that. Yeah.
Good
Alright,
call.
respect, respect.
Yeah.
Respect.
That met her in person and was just like, I mean, I was just googly eyed. Like
I'm
I felt
going
like
to
a
Mika
t-
Burton's page and I'm tagging at Bulls.
Oh my goodness.
Don't do that.
Editors, get this.
That's too funny.
Maybe she'll do a VOD review for you too.
Oh my lord.
Oh my lord, indeed.
Sorry.
This is downward spiraling. Hey, you see that we went serious there for about 30 minutes. We're back to Bull.
Skunk.
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 Bulls, check the Twitter.
Billy.
Billy,
What?
yeah, you're up, bud. Who is your celebrity crush?
Do you want OWL as well?
No, I said Margot Robbie.
If we're talking Overwatch, Aspen is also there.
Okay,
There's also
so
Zoe.
celebrity crush, probably Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yes. Yes.
He's tatted, he's muscular, he's got a bald head and a goatee, and he's fucking manly as shit.
Not
Also
that.
free beer?
He's got maybe like 5.
Also free beer.
There's also
Free
a
beer.
lot.
That's the other
Actually,
thing.
he has his own podcast, and
I
he
know,
actually
I
does
love that.
not drink as much as people think he does.
I know he
has-
doesn't.
He has stopped that a lot. He just mainly does it for television appearances.
As far as Overwatch League, I have a huge crush on Semler, and he left us, and I'm pissed.
Yeah.
Honestly, I left Monte Cristo out and I left Aspen out, so.
I love Semler.
Otherwise, we have a big debate between 6 people, and I wasn't deciding that in a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Your list was already long enough, Ocean, and I can't blame you on similar.
Yeah. Oh my.
Samuel is an attractive man.
If
Although he
only I was
doesn't know
that
what extra, he doesn't know what extra innings is.
Yes,
And
that
he
was.
uses the
That
phrase.
was funny. Go
Okay.
back and watch the hexagrams.
Oh no,
Twitch
I'm
chat.
telling the story. I'm telling the story. You don't have to go back. I mean, please go back and watch the VOD. But I'm taking 30 seconds. I'm
Yeah.
telling this story. So obviously they use the term extra innings when they go into extra rounds in Overwatch. We had this happen on Anubis, which is kind of why it got brought up in the VOD that we were going over. And I mean that's a fairly common term in OWL. That you're headed to extra innings. Well, so they're in Atlanta. They're at the Atlanta homestand, and the
Hey,
Atlanta
home?
org. What's that?
I said I'm cheering for Atlanta because I'm from Atlanta.
Oh yeah, cheer away. So the Atlanta organization buys them apparently some amazing seats at the baseball game there, and so they're sitting there. It's middle of the ninth, tie ball game, and similar straight-faced as hell turns to hexagrams and says, "Wait a minute. So what happens if they finish the ninth inning tied?"
Oh my god.
I knew this.
No.
Hex was just like,
man.
Wait. Do you not know where the term extra innings comes from? Like, we use it daily in Overwatch. And apparently, and he even said, Hex even mentioned, like, I don't know if he was trolling me or not, but if he was, it was his best acting job of all time. But he was convinced that Similar had no idea where the term extra innings came from, and it took them sitting at a baseball game in Atlanta, and for him to ask the question before he figured out where that term came from. All right, that's my story.
The place, just everything just lined right up. But that's awesome. So one more topic of discussion. We're gonna do this rapid fire. We're going right down through this, like pure rapid fire.
Rapid fire round. Let's go.
Way too early. Overwatch League finals predictions podcast. Oh my gosh, way too early. Overwatch. All right, we're just gonna start that over.
I
Okay.
got it.
Mission.
Way too
Don't
early.
edit. All right.
No, Mission,
Way too early.
you are going to freaking edit all this. Okay.
Don't
No.
All right.
Don't do it.
Keep it in, please.
No.
Mission. I'll slide you some extra money.
All right.
Okay.
Way too
honestly,
early. Overwatch League Finals predictions. Airborne. Go. Rapid fire.
Atlanta Reign, San Francisco Shock.
Let's go.
Oh, the Atlanta hype! No! Oh, you're cringing me.
Bull Skunk.
Oh, I'm gonna go. Shock Guangzhou Charge.
I like it. Guangzhou hype is the thing. Keep going.
Oh.
Let's go rapid fire. Ocean, you're up.
All right, okay. Shock and either Dragons or Fusion, depending on who makes the better mid-season signings.
Boom.
All right.
Billy.
What's your prediction?
Justice Titans.
Yeah.
No, right. We said we were going rapid fire, but what?
No, this is the first and last time Billy will ever be on the podcast. Sorry, folks.
Okay,
Oh.
Billy, are you doing our Overwatch League Draft League? Are you doing our Overwatch League Draft League?
Thank you.
If you're doing our Overwatch League Draft League, thank God I'm not finishing last.
You'll eat your words. You'll eat your words.
All right, or D.VA will. My prediction.
Jesus
My
Christ.
prediction is.
If
I
this
want
man's
to
said the
say
Outlaws, I'm done.
no. Shanghai Dragons and Chengdu Hunters.
Yo, I like it! Chengdu hype. Let's go Chengdu hype.
All right.
I
So
admire you
please-
not putting Shock up there. That's a ballsy move. That's a ballsy move.
Thank you. I so wanted to
Billy
say.
and Ryder are the only two people who haven't put Shock in there.
So
Yep.
I want an upset. I want an upset hard. I was gonna say Outlaws just to trigger everybody, but they are my team. Annie up.
Hey, I'm a Reign fan and I'm
And
not ashamed of it.
So in the comments below, go ahead and tell us what your super way too early finals predictions are. And please, we'll shout you guys out everything. And to wrap
Real quick.
up this, yes, go for it.
Just cause the lulls, and I know this will trigger everyone, Dallas-Houston final.
Yes, let's have
Right, no,
Everything's-
be quiet. Airborne's kicked. Done. It's
it.
done.
Everything's bigger in
Basic
Texas.
turn your
Everything's bigger.
edition.
So I would like to say thank you to Sostic Clothing. They are a sponsor for us now, an affiliate. So anytime that you guys use our special code on their website, we get a 15% kickback, and everything that we get goes back into you guys. We will be using any money that we get for giveaways. So if you guys go to sosticClothing.co, not .com, it's SOESICCLOTHING.co. And when you guys go to the checkout, please use our code StreamConsole, all caps, one words, StreamConsole,
One word.
STREAMConsole.
One word.
One word, stream console at sosticClothing.co. And I'd also like to give a shout out to DMC for letting us use his music for each of these podcasts. You can go ahead and find him on SoundCloud and on Twitter, and his stuff is down below as well as ours. And I would like to thank Ocean, Airborne, Bull, and our special guest, Chef Billy, for joining us today. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, stars, the whole shebang. We appreciate you all, and thank you for joining us.